Call this regular city council meeting to order. Invocation by Reverend Leann.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we come to this meeting tonight, Lord, I just ask you to give us direction, guidance, be with us. Thank you for all our people that are serving in our midst with the police department, fire department as well. Lord, I just ask you to be with all the aldermen making correct decisions tonight, and Lord, just be with us. Be with the other people that are fighting for our freedoms in other countries. Lord, just watch over them and protect their families. Lord, I just also ask you at this time to give reverence to the people that just lost their lives. We don't want that to happen in our society, and that's the reason why we have laws that protect us. But Lord, I just thank you again for protecting us right now. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Here.
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 Here. Here.
All aldermen are present except Bertle, and I'll have a 1 minute delay while I go get the plaque for Youth of the Month. Tonight we'd like to honor Brian Skalinka. Brian Skalinka's bowling accomplishments: 4-year varsity starter. As a freshman, he had a tournament high game of 266 at the Freeport Collegiate Sports Shot Tournament. Set a personal best average his senior year with a 196 average over 84 games. 37 of those games he bowled were over 200. Became the first Taylorville High School boys bowler to advance the Illinois High School Association State Bowling Championship since Alex Clark, who did it in 2010. Awarded the THS Boys Bowling Team Captain and Team MVP for 2018-2019. Brian also competed in the 2019 USBC National Open Championship held in Las Vegas, Nevada. Alderman, I'd like to welcome Brian Skalinka. Whereas to really excel in any one field, a person must demonstrate, in addition to a great deal of natural ability, an outstanding spirit of knowledge, dedication, enthusiasm, and hard work. And whereas Brian Skalinka is being honored for his bowling accomplishments throughout his 4 years at Taylorville High School, now therefore I, Bruce Berry, Mayor of the City of Taylorville, do hereby proclaim August 5th, 2019 as Brian Skalinka Day. Okay, we have cake and ice cream in my conference room for anyone who'd like to indulge. Thanks for coming. call Chief Wheeler up here in recognition of police officers. Chief, Assistant Chief.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, Alderman Mayor. First, I'd like to recognize Officer Ponzel. I'll explain the details of what happened. On July 16, 2019, you, along with Sergeant Toberman, Sergeant Herbstreit, Officer Dickey, and Officer Alwerdt, responded to assist Cook County Sheriff's Office with an active shooter situation in the area of Illinois Route 48 and County Highway 1. Upon arriving on scene, you assisted in attempting to control the scene, identify victims, and identify the location of the shooter. During the course of these duties, the shooter actively fired his firearm from the direction southeast of the residence. Utilizing sound judgment and tactics, you made the decision to return to your police car and retrieve your patrol rifle. You retrieved your patrol rifle and returned to the area from where the gunshots came from. While you were scanning the area, you located a suspect hiding behind a woodpile with a long rifle nearby. You advised other officers in the area you had located the suspect and began giving verbal commands to that suspect. The suspect was taken into custody without further incident or more gunshots were fired. You showed extreme professionalism and bravery in locating the suspect. Your actions shall not go unnoticed. Please accept this letter of recognition on behalf of the Taylorville Police Department and the citizens you serve for your outstanding work on this incident. Let me also offer my personal thanks and congratulations for a job well done. We want to thank you. I also want to thank the other officers that were involved. They were all heroes in my eyes. That night, we all know could have turned tragic. This individual decided to shoot someone in front of the police, and it could have been one of ours. So, God bless it didn't happen. God bless you're okay. So, making Vince Childers a celebrity.
Several winners.
Oh, we have two working midnights, we have one more left.
Okay. I'm gonna just do one photo, if that's okay?
Sounds good. Okay, the second one is to Officer Alwerdt, Officer Fox, and Officer Mense. Two of the officers are working midnights tonight, so we could not make it. But also Alwerdt, if you don't mind giving them a plaque.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wake up. On July 6, 2019, you attempted to pull over a white Chevy in the city of Taylorville. The vehicle in question has been seen at several drug locations. The driver of the vehicle conducted a traffic violation, at which time he activated your lights and sirens to conduct a traffic stop. The vehicle fled the traffic stop. The vehicle's passenger began to throw items at your police car, trying to cause you to crash. The passenger also threw lit fireworks at your police vehicle during the pursuit. On one occasion, the lit fireworks struck your windshield of your squad car. You stayed with the vehicle along with Officer Mense and Officer Fox. The passenger was also live streaming this whole incident on Facebook. During the course of your duties, you, along with Officer Mense and Officer Fox, used sound judgment and extreme professionalism and bravery. Two subjects were arrested for several crimes. A loaded handgun was also recovered. Please accept this letter on behalf of the Taylorville Police Department and the citizens we serve. A job well done.
you.
You guys are welcome to take that. The omnibus vote designation, you motion to approve that. Motion by Alderman Olive, second by Alderman Bryant. Roll call.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
John Burnham. Oh, sorry. Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Minutes of the public hearing held July 15, 2019. Minutes of the regular meeting held July 15, 2019. Minutes of the ordinance committee meeting held July 18, 2019. Minutes of the finance committee meeting held July 18, 2019. Minutes of the emergency services committee meeting held August 1st, 2019. Minutes of the personnel committee meeting held August 1st, 2019. Motion to approve all these as read. Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second by Alderman Skoltedi. Roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Ordinance. An ordinance to propose the approval of an amendment to the Business Development District redevelopment plan and establish a date for a public hearing for the First Amendment to the Taylorville Business Development District Number 1. Motion by Alderman Bud, second by
Second.
Alderman Olive. Comment? Questions? Roll call.
Mayor votes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Mayor votes yes. Motion carries 8-0. An ordinance adding chapter 8 to title 6 of the Taylorville City Code. Administrative fees and procedures for impounded vehicles for specified violations. Motion by Alderman Skoltedi, second by Alderman Driscoll. Roll call.
Your Honor, may I interject something? I'd like to make some comments and some suggested amendments. This was drafted following the direction of the motion that came out of the committee back in March, which called for a $100 administrative fee. I've talked with the police chief about this. This is kind of a unique statute that applies to non-home rule municipalities, it's somewhat restrictive. It does require that if anybody wants to have a hearing on an impounded vehicle, you have to hire an attorney to be the hearing officer, which is going to be some expense to the city for that deal. So $100 isn't going to cover it. So when I talked with your police chief, I think he suggested in an email to me, other communities could go as high as $250.
Yes, sir.
It might be even appropriate that we have an administrative fee even as much as $500. And what this is, in that ordinance are specific reasons that allow the city to impound vehicles for certain violations. If people want to get their vehicle back for those violations, they have to pay an administrative fee to cover your cost, and also in addition pay for the towing and storage and impoundment of that vehicle. $100 is not going to cover it, folks. So even though he suggested $250, I would even suggest you may want to go higher, as much as $500. The odds are probably very few folks will appeal it, and you'll have those hearings. But in the event that you did, you will have collected enough money to perhaps cover that cost. So I would suggest something different than the 100. The other thing that if you'll turn to page 6 of the ordinance. Actually, let me go to page 4 first. Is that when I took another look at this, because it is very restrictive for non-home rule, under subparagraph D, we need to add a paragraph 6 that basically, I'll read it to you. I suggest. The administrative fee shall be waived by the city upon verifiable proof that the vehicle was stolen at the time the vehicle was impounded. That's right out of the statute. That's required for non-home rule. You can't charge a fee if they can prove you stole my car to go on a drunken binge, what have you. So I'd suggest that we amend the ordinance to include that paragraph. If you go to page 6, under J, that should be the third to last line of that paragraph. It says a capital subparagraph, capital H, parentheses 4, should be a small h. would say of this, instead of this chapter, of section 6-8-1. And then 6-8-2, we need to omit that paragraph. Because there's gonna be underlying fines levied for those violations of cars being impounded. If you're looking at that statute, even though it mentions the word fines, I don't think we can communicate that paragraph out. So with those suggested recommendations, I would ask that you adopt this ordinance. Depending upon what fee you want to charge. Any questions about that fee? Police Chief, Wheeler, do you have any objection to that number?
No, sir.
So Alderman Driscoll, got to make your motion.
Do we need to know the fee now?
Yes.
At this time? So, do we have a moment to discuss what we'd like to do? or-
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I say go for the 500. The tow alone is $100.
I agree. I'm fine, fine.
Somebody find this by one.
It allows us to not be in the hole, so. Right. Like you said, most people probably won't have the issue with it, but I don't want us to go in the hole.
How would I word this as far as the amendment?
There's a motion to adopt the ordinance, my agenda here. I think your motion would be to adopt the ordinance adding chapter 8 to title 6 of the Taylorville City Code as stated in the agenda with the recommended revisions as stated by the city attorney during this meeting. And I'll give you the ordinance. There'll be a $500 administrative fee. You're gonna add that one sentence that the administrative fee has to be returned if it's a stolen vehicle, that's by statute. We're gonna correct the typos, raise to a small h, and we're gonna omit 6-8-2. Everybody clear with that? Okay, with those changes, call the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Driscoll and seconded by Alderman Skoltedi. Roll call.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Coletti.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Bernie
Yes.
Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. An ordinance adding section 5-1-12 to chapter 1 of title 5 of the Taylorville City Code, K-9 police officer squad car.
I'll comment to that. I saw in your minutes, you're gonna be talking about a different squad car policy. This is one that you directed me some time ago, and for whatever reason it got overlooked by me, but this is the one that allows your K-9 officer to keep the car at home in case he gets called out for an emergency call. Okay.
That's the next motion, so. Motion by Alderman Skoltedi, second by Alderman Olive. Roll call.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Coletti.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes.
Now that you've adopted that ordinance, now you can officially make a motion to, if you wish, as read in this agenda. You're actually now allowing, and this ordinance you just adopted is gonna give you the flexibility from time to time to change your mind, or to do whatever you want. But right now, you've adopted it, now you're gonna say the current K-9 officer, he's allowed to do this. I assume it's a he.
Need a motion to allow the current assigned K-9 police officer
Second.
to have his assigned squad car with him at his residence for use in emergency callouts for the services of the K-9 dog pursuant to City Code Section 5-1-12. Motion by
So moved.
Alderman Dorchenez, second by Alderman Landzadi. Roll call.
Chris Coletti.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Motion carries 7-0. An ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property owned by the city of Taylorville. 1991 Fisher Freedom 240 Deluxe Pontoon Boat. Need a motion by Alderman Skoltedi, second by Alderman Driscoll. Questions or comments?
Mayor votes.
Roll call.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim
Yes.
Olive. Chris Coletti.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes, Mayor. Motion carries 8-0. Resolution, a resolution to levy an additional tax of 0.02% for the library purchase of sites and buildings, for the construction and equipment of buildings, and for the maintenance, repairs, and alteration of library buildings and equipment. Motion by Alderman Olive, second by Alderman Bud. Roll call.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll,
Yes, with comment.
Lee Landzadi,
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Comment, Alderman Driscoll?
Is this coming up because there's current plans to be adding on, or is there something that's happening that we're gonna be doing?
This is done every year.
It's just every year, okay, thank you.
It's part of the regular tax levy, it's just their portion.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next on the agenda, discussion of the First National Bank of Taylorville sidewalk project and any motions relating thereto. There's been a little bit of discussion about the prevailing wage that must be paid on any sidewalk. I know Alderman Dorchenez and myself and Attorney Romano have talked about this. It is the law of Illinois that any project in the municipal sidewalks has to be paid prevailing wage. The contractor for the bank has balked at that, had a few conversations with Attorney Romano. So if you might add something to it, see what we gotta do.
Yes, here's what I brought to your attention, because I did have a couple of conversations from Steve Milling. And initially the conversations was just fairly questioning why prevailing wage law applies to this particular project, since the bank was gonna be paying for the labor and the city was gonna be paying for the material. I did explain to him that it doesn't make any difference. I mean, that's the law. That if you have a public improvement, that there's work done on public property to which we accept it no matter who pays for it, you have to pay prevailing wages. And I explained to him that that has been the law for many, many years, and in fact, it's a topic of discussion almost at every Illinois Municipal League conference, because there was some discussion, of course, trying to raise the ante so for the smaller projects you wouldn't have to do that. That law has never passed to date. So then I had another call back where he was questioning it again. I think after the second conversation, I think he understood, and he was very cordial about that. He understood the prevailing wage, but he told me that when he bidded the job out, or when his two subcontractors, Tullis and Castle from Payne, they did not take into account prevailing wages. And I said, well, there's nothing we can do about that. That's a contract issue between you and your subcontractors, and whatever proposal you gave to the bank. We're not involved in that. All the city council did was that we're appreciative that if you're gonna pay the material, pay for labor to put it in, we'll pay for the materials for the entire sidewalk. What has happened though, when he called me back to tell me that he put a stop work order on the job after you see about half of the sidewalk has been removed. Now, they're gonna go forward with that apparently, but he put a stop work order to put it back in the bank's lap to say, what are they gonna do about it? I just brought it to your attention because I got the phone calls, and it's my understanding that when you voted on that, it was your understanding that the entire sidewalk was gonna be removed, and you were gonna pay for the materials. I don't think there was any question in anybody's mind on either side of the ledger here that prevailing wages applied, and you had to have certificate of insurance. So there you are. So I just brought it to the table to bring it to you, and I've asked the mayor, he's had a conversation with the bank president today to find out what their intent was. I think the response was they're gonna take it to their board and talk about it. But the question for you folks is, if you don't get the whole bang for your buck, are you going to not go forward and pay for half the sidewalk? I'm just throwing that out there for you. And I think the mayor, when he had the discussion, is saying, well, we made a deal for the whole sidewalk, and if we don't get half, the council may not approve to pay for that half. So, I'm just throwing that out for discussion, and I didn't know if anybody from the bank was gonna be here, or Mr. Steve was gonna be here. If you want to make a motion to give some direction to the mayor, so when he follows up the discussion with the bank, what it is that you want to do. But that's where you find yourself today.
I guess the option is now, if he does half the sidewalk, or do we want to pay for any of the concrete, any of the materials? Do we want to pay for half the materials? Or the motion was to pay for all of it. And when I talked to the president today, she said that it would have to go before the board because it is an increase in cost. And I reiterated what Rocky said, you know, that's between you and the contractor, but the contractor should have known that it was prevailing wage, because that has been the law of the land for at least the last 10 years, if not longer.
Oh, no, at least 40-some years.
Yeah.
It's been a long, long time. Okay.
So I guess we're looking for direction and motion to.
I have a comment. I have a concern about their sidewalk that's not tore out, but it's damaged, okay? So what do we do in that case?
We have an ordinance for damaged sidewalks that would have to be made whole and corrected. Again, it'd have to be made with prevailing wages too, so. And, you know, if the bank understands that, I mean, you know, anybody can drive by there, I think by accident, or whatever, when they were taking out the parking lot, some part of the sidewalk is still there, is somewhat damaged in parts. So it's going to be changed, so. I think the mayor just wants some direction, that if you have any strong feelings one way or the other, that either we get the whole thing, and we'll live up to our end of the bargain, but if we only do half, we're not gonna pay for the material. And just have to repair the other part of the sidewalk.
What's the consequence of, I'm sorry, what's the consequence of pulling funding, period? I mean, they're not gonna, then we end up with just.
Oh, no, they damage the sidewalk, it don't have to be
I mean, they
repaired.
100% have to, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no,
So they already have to repair
what's been
whether,
taken out.
whether we pay for the concrete or not, correct? Well, it just seems silly to me because I would think that if they have to put all that back and fix what they damaged on the other half, paying prevailing wage. Here's my thing, I hope they come back and vote that they'll pay the prevailing wage and do it all.
Well, I think that's what everyone hopes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be an issue, but in case it's an issue, and we don't have to do it.
And I think the fairness to who we talked to today, the president, she had to take us to the board, she had that meeting yet.
Right.
So it may be a non-issue.
Or if not, put it back away.
Or we can delay it till the 19th to the next council meeting.
I'll make a motion we table until the 19th.
All right, motion by Alderman Rizzotti, second by Alderman Bud, all in favor?
Aye.
But I think even by Taylor, I think you've got some indication of how to proceed with your conversation with the bank.
Thank you.
City attorney update.
As of our contract, we still haven't heard anything back since the meeting that you and I and the mayor have had, so we're still waiting for that. Through emails, you've seen now, we've got the blue stem agreements all been signed, exchanged. I think, Julie, you've got the copy in your files, I assume. One quick matter here is that the mayor and Alderman Olive are still in negotiations with the landowner concerning your lift station issue, as to some suggestion that part of your lift station may be on private property and access to it. And I think these two are having some discussions with, I've been having some input with it, as to trying to resolve those things. There's nothing concrete yet, but when that comes there, I think we'll bring something back to you, and then we'll all three recommend that you seriously consider. Okay? Any questions about that? Yes,
Blue Stem,
yes.
is that gonna interfere with Direct Energy that we have the contract with them?
In what way?
Well, we now buy our electric through, Direct Energy, and they're the supplier for the current water treatment plant. Is
Right.
Going over to Blue Stem, is there going to be a problem because of already having a contract with Direct Energy?
I thought that was covering two, I thought Blue Stem is now addressing on a statewide level for being a participant in a project of that sort, and not necessarily limited with the water plant.
Okay.
So it's a different direction. Okay. Good question. Anything else?
All right, thank you.
That's it.
Mayor update. With 5 weeks into Chief Wheeler's reign, I want to thank him and congratulate him on a job well done. Thank you. As I drive through the tornado area, I'm starting to see much improvement. A lot of new houses, a lot of new roofs and fences. We have worked on the alleys. This fall, we will have a plan on replacing sidewalks in the area. We continue to cut trees down and we will start grinding stumps in the near future. We have done some initial work in trying to upgrade our drainage issues. I want to personally thank our summer help at the lake, cemetery, water, and street departments for jobs well done. We will be having a Kona ice party for all the summer help this week at the street department. All of them are invited also. We wish them all well in their upcoming school year. As many of you know, we tore our 35th house down last week, and since then we've added a few more to be torn down in the near future. I think 508 West 2nd will be the next one, and then we're going to work on 2 on East Franklin Street. Our police department, fire department have begun training for an active shooter. At this time, I would like to reach out to those communities that were involved in the recent shootings. Our prayers are with you. Tomorrow, I will be joining Congressman Davis in Carlinville to discuss rural broadband service in the rural areas. I think Taylorville's happy to have CTI, and there's a lot of rural areas like ours that don't have fiber. And Saturday was a Safe Passage fundraiser. It was a very big success. Thanks to the Skull Teddy family for their donation to Safe Passage of the gift cards. Last Tuesday was our first ever town hall meeting. Thanks for all the aldermen showing up. I thought it was a huge success, and we'll probably have 2 of these each year, so our next one will be held in the spring. I invite everyone tomorrow night to our National Night Out, hosted by the Fire Department and Police Department at the Firehouse from 5 until 8. And I recommend all aldermen try to attend and and talk with our community. Thank you very much. Committee reports. Discussion and/or motion to approve, adopt, and/or deny, and/or table, and/or amend, and/or refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. Ordinance. Alderman Bryant.
The ordinance that came out of committee is there, you can read that on the agenda, but I would like to amend that motion to modify hours for Sunday sales from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. for only Class B and Class F establishments, which is grocery, convenience, and golf courses, and along with that for any establishments wishing to participate to raise the fee from $200 to $300.
Motion by Alderman Bryant. Second.
Second.
Alderman Skoltedi. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Leland Zadi?
No.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1. Finance Committee. Alderman Bud.
The first motion to come out of finance was recommend the city council to donate $8,000 to the Greater Taylorville Chamber of Commerce for the 2019 Chili Fest. I'll make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud.
Second.
Second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Leland Zadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Bernie
Yes.
Dorchenez?
Motion carries 7-0.
The next motion was to recommend to the city council to create a policy regarding all MFT funds for the material street improvements to be repaid by, pre-approved by the city council. All projects over $25,000 to be bid according to MFT guidelines, and all engineering costs for said projects to be included in their reimbursement, excluding labor and equipment. Make that form motion to the content.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Olive. Comment, Alderman Bud.
In tonight's bills, you will see MFT will be repaying the general fund $264,016.69. That is the money that IDOT was able to come up with to repay the $921,000. When they went through the files, they were able to come up with enough plus this here to pay the $921,000 that was owed to motor fuel tax. This now completes that part of it. We will still have 17 and 18 to be approved by IDOT, and then they are working on those at this time. As soon as we get that, I'll let you all know where we are with that. I think it will be very favorable to the city. But this will satisfy them, IDOT, with making this motion. But I can't stress enough, we no longer can include labor and equipment. That's what got us in trouble, and this clears that up. So make that form motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion was already made and seconded, so roll call.
Leland Zadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yeah.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
And the final motion is recommend the city council to accept the treasurer's report as presented. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by
Second.
Alderman Olive. Roll call.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Leland Zadi.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Emergency services, Alderman Driscoll.
Thank you. In our emergency services, we were pretty busy that night. Our first motion came out to recommend to the city council to approve Chief Wheeler's request to utilize the drug asset forfeiture funds to purchase furniture and electronics to furnish and, to equip, yes, the electronics for the intelligence and training room. I'd like to get a motion, make that a form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second by Alderman Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Our next motion is to recommend to the city council to forward the squad car policy to the ordinance committee. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second by Alderman Bud. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next will be the motion to recommend to the city council to approve Police Chief Wheeler's request to utilize the drug asset forfeiture funds to purchase vest outer covers for the community action team officers. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second by Alderman Olive. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, a motion to recommend to the city council to direct the mayor to prepare a letter to send to the police and fire commission to begin the hiring process to fill the vacancy in the fire department due to the resignation of firefighter Blake Chouse per the contract. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second by Alderman Dorchenez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And my final motion is to recommend to the city council to approve the 2019-2020 maintenance schedule for the fire department apparatus at a cost of approximately $6,575. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second by Alderman Lanzadi. Roll call.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Leland Zadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Personnel, Alderman Lanzadi.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to deny, I'd like to make a motion to deny the ASME Local 3349 grievance. Is that in the form of a motion?
Motion by Alderman Lanzadi, second by Alderman Driscoll. Roll call.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Yes.
Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Leland Zadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Next, I have a resolution for the IMRF, resolution relating to the participation by elected officials in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. We just have to adopt it, that's all.
Right.
We're just doing this.
That resolution be adopted. You have to vote on that.
Yes.
Okay. Roll call.
I need a second, please.
Motion by Alderman Lanzadi,
Second.
second by Alderman Bryant.
Third.
Roll call, third by Alderman
I assume that you're voting on what is the filled in version, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Might as well.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Leland Zadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Motion to approve and/or ratify payment of bills. Motion by Alderman Bud with a comment, and second by Alderman Skoltedi. Alderman Bud.
Bills total to $1,867,731.57. Insurance, $110,153.68. Illinois Public Risk for September, $24,237. Total insurance is $134,390.68. Electric, $18,175.70. Garbage, $2,361. Phone, $1,106.77. Ron's, Big R, and Walmart, $1,879.33. Computer Tech, $2,668.17. Highway Technology, this is an annual disaster, it's an annual contract with them, $2,885. Bob Wrighty's, $1,293.53. Ford and Harrison Labor Attorney, $1,344. Meyer, Austin, Romano, $4,207.50. United Capital Funding, Temporary Help, $3,480.96. Economic Development, $1,012.20. Altorfer, $2,143.41. PS Printing, $2,570.67. Farrell Builders for Vegetation Management on the Lake, $5,640. Don and Jackie Gradas, Real Estate Tax, this is year 20 of 20, $2,119.43. Ovenpole, $2,818.50. Five Oaks Recycling, Demo Waste Management was $1,691.76, and Tornado was $426.12 for a total of $2,117.88. Police and Fire for uniforms, $1,189.65. Police Department, Alpha Omega, installed 13 cameras, $4,630. Thompson Reuters West, $1,337. WatchGuard Video for equipment for the cars, $75,270. This is through a grant where we should be reimbursed for that. Main Cross Auto, $1,578. Fire Department, Dinges Fire Company, equipment repair, $1,477. Street Department, Green and Bradford, $6,677.01. Bodine Electric, $1,631.05. Furman Engineering for Steak and Shake. This is reimbursable through the BDD, $18,500. K.H. Broughton, $1,287.15. Pana Limestone, $1,681.90. Mugabug Mosquito Spray, $3,626. MFPT Repay General Fund, $264,016.69. Water Department, Brockton Engineering for Rehab Well 4, $26,705. Chemicals, $32,055.23. This includes for the new water treatment plant. Midwest Meter, $4,804.73. PDC Labs, $1,395. Schulte Supply, $1,327.10. W.W. Granger, $1,247.35. Blocker Construction, $1,203,260.30. That's the new water treatment plant. Lake Department, Campground and Lake Lot Refund, $1,425. These total $1,800,660.19.
Roll call.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Michael Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. First subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. The Illinois Open Meeting Act 5 ILCS 120/1C mandates no action shall be taken on subject matters not listed on the agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the subject matter to a future council and/or committee meeting. If anyone wishes to address the council, please provide your name and address. Limit your comments or presentation to 3 minutes and avoid repetitious comments. Anyone like to address the council?
I will, Your Honor.
Alderman Skoltedi.
In light of the work starting to slowly proceed in that area, I want to bring it forward to the community so that everybody's aware of it. You should have received an email about the Illinois housing developments from the treasurer back in May, I believe it was May 20th, and talking about a Hathaway Home project number 2 coming in Taylorville. That project is proceeding, at present being flagged off or surveyed, and just Mr. Landzadi, or Alderman Landzadi, and I have been starting to field a lot of questions about it. So we just wanted to get it out there, and I know this is not, you know, something that isn't easy. It's easy to do. Mr. Lanzotti and myself would not and do not support this type of housing development, but it is one of the things that is, it's hard not to, it's been in the works for quite some time, as I have correspondence and letters of support going back to November of last year from the, I believe it is the Christian County Development Corporation. So it is, there's gonna be 48 new 2 and 3 bedroom homes in that development area. They'll be directly west, I believe, directly west of the current halfway home. So I just wanna make everybody aware of that, and so we can get it out in the community so they are aware. And hopefully Mr. Lanzotti and myself will be slowing down the amount of questions that we're fielding over the issue. Thank you, Your Honor.
Comment. That was done in November of last year, prior to, when the mayor had signed the document off of that, in relationship to that. However, none of the council members knew at that time that you had done that. So bring it to the attention of the alderman. I think we should have been involved. There have been a lot of questions toward me on the halfway homes, even Chief Wheeler said something about it. First of all, what has happened on the drug bust out to Arlington Heights was a Section 8 home. And this, I'm not saying anything bad about the people. Some people can only afford so much. However, what follows to these homes is people that come into Taylorville from other municipalities that go in there, achieve these places, and to get to rent these places, and they come in at a lower rate. The tax rates on these, and Chris and I talked about this when we went to different entities to find out, we don't receive a lot of taxes on this, and real estate taxes. And my recommendation would have been, that if we fight this thing, we're gonna have, according to what goes on from last time, we will probably have a suit against us. In the event from now on, I wish you would bring this to the attention of the alderman of the city to go ahead and notify us before you make it on your own precedence to send a document, sign the document. Now, you may have a comment, and I would like to hear your comment. But right now, I'm not in support of it. There's a lot of people that has came to me and do not support this, and that's how I feel.
There has been other aldermen advising me on this. I guess years ago when they were first built, the city first accepted them, then tried to deny them, and they faced a lawsuit, and it cost the city upwards of $50,000 or $60,000. I have been in contact with our attorney, and I understood that there was no way we can opt out about another subdivision, whether it's low income, high income, whatever. We're in the business to accept housing. The way I understand it, 6 of these homes will be taxed at the regular rate, and the other ones will be taxed at approximately 2/3. I think 65% was the figure I was given. When I sat on the school board, we had the issue with the Hathaway homes. The school board they don't receive the taxes either, but they do receive upwards of over $6,000 per student. So it's an increase for the school fund. The school really would like to have more people there. Our school is losing enrollment. I agree, but no, I am basically for this. We're gonna get 6 new homes at the regular tax rate. People are building homes. I think last month of July, we had 1 building permit for a new home. Okay, now I know we'll get at least 6. We'll get 48 building permits. We'll get the fee off that. So that will be, I don't know, it's $1,000 a home, say 700, say 500 a home. That's $24,000 if we get in building fees. It will be a help for our economy as far as purchasing supplies. I imagine RP Lumber will sell most of the most of the lumber and things like that. So I see it as a benefit to Taylorville. And I was presented a letter, and I think your timing is off. I think I received this letter maybe year and a half ago, and I talked with them. They are gonna build 60 of these homes, 48 in Taylorville, 18 two-bedroom, 33 bedroom homes. And they're projected people that would be able to live in that would be maybe a newly hired fireman with a family of 3 or 4. He wouldn't reach the income level, so I disagree. Mark my word, I am for this type of housing. I think it gives our young people that don't have the chance to maybe go to college and starting out in trades at a lower rate to live in a nice home. And as far as I've talked with Chief Wheeler and Fire Chief Cruz, there's no extra work there. We have drug busts all over town. I think this is the first one that we've noticed in the last 10 years. And tell me if I'm wrong, that has been in one of these so-called homes.
Correct.
Most of them are way, other areas. And my God, you go out behind the VFW, if I was a family struggling for finance, I'd much rather live in a home there than I would pay $600 for a rent of another home that people are getting in this town. So I strongly disagree with both you guys if you are against this. I think it's great for Taylorville, and I stand by that.
Maybe a question, actually. Is this gonna be first and foremost to local people who are already here, or is this open to anybody from other communities? Or the first people who are already residents, do we get first dibs?
I really cannot answer that. I don't know. From what I was told, that I think it does go locally first, but I'm no expert on that. It's people, I talked with Megan Bell, she's the head of this a week ago, and it's been a little controversy in the past. In no way do I think the city should try to deny this, because we would get ourselves involved in a lawsuit. And with money being as tight as it is, I think it would be money thrown away. The way I've talked with Attorney Romano is we would lose. So if he's got any comment, he's welcome to add to it.
Well, I think, I couldn't find a letter before I came to the meeting tonight, but I believe back, this surfaced in 2013, if I remember the lawsuit. And I think we reached out and got a formal legal opinion from counsel, I forgot the name of the firm right now, to tell us, is there any way we can amend our zoning code and our ordinances to restrict this in some way? Given the nature of the federal law, there really isn't. I mean, when we looked at that, it would be a tough road to haul, and we would probably lose that. So, if you're thinking about aggressively trying to stop it, I think it's going to be you're not going to succeed.
I just want to like comment and say, it was not in my intent to bring it up to aggressively try to stop it. I believe everybody on this council does the best, including the mayor, does the best they can in thinking what they have done or are doing is best for the city. I'm not trying to create any animosity amongst ourselves, but that was my general feeling. And again, I don't want the city council to take action to try to block it. I think, I was just saying, I was just in my stance, if it had been able to come before the city council and listen to the constituents that vote for me, that have voted for me in Ward 2, that do not want it, that is how I would vote. And I do believe Mayor Barry, there's pros and cons to all of it, and I hope it's regulated well. There's somebody keeping watch and ensuring that there's people who don't take advantage of it, and it's used for the people who need it.
And I would still think that the plans and stuff would have to come through the planning commission, come back, that you folks would have to vote on, approve of whatever the plans are going to be out there.
This is basically survey work.
Yeah.
And they've got a site plan they have submitted, and I'll be more than happy to show that. They simply got an email, they didn't officially submit it yet. And so, like I said, but I'll go on record, I'm for this type of housing. It would help our community immensely. It would probably get enrollment into our schools. And it'll help our contractors. I don't know if they'll be locally contracted out or not. I do too. Everything's preliminary right now. So
that's all, and that's the reason that I want to address it at this time, is the questions start to pick up more and more as the work slowly starts to begin, and that way we can get it out into the public eye and let the community know what's actually happening.
But it's no extra work. I've talked with Chief Cruz about this. There's no extra work that would consider for the fire department. We have not had hardly any calls at all, fire department or emergency medical reasons why. We've hardly had any police calls in any types of these homes. Now, we did have the drug vest on Arlington the other day, but we've had plenty of drug vests on Franklin Street, Adams and Vanderveer and whatever. So you can't really, say anything about that. And, you know, somebody else asked me, would you like living next to it? I would live right next to it. I wouldn't care one bit. So, all right. Anyone else?
Comment. Progressively, there's nothing we can do to stop it, so I mean, it's on the way it's going right now. And I think what you just said, that we're gonna benefit from R&P selling the materials out of there.
If they do.
And if they do.
Yeah.
So progressively, we will get some, monies back to the city on that. So, I mean, but this is the reason why I wanted to bring it up to the public as well. We have discussed this many times between us, and there's other factors that are involved. So, I think you pretty well hit it on the
I
nose.
also believe after 14 years, they are taxed at the regular rate. They're only.
Okay, after 14 years.
So,
Well, I
and
talked to a lot of
that's why
people.
they're going after it now. I guess the homes at Galveston was maybe built in '05, so they're gonna be selling those homes and
Okay.
things like that, so.
Some of
Way
that,
before I was mayor, this was all decided.
some of that notification that I tried to get, I could not get factors on. I think, and that's public information, by the way.
Mr. Bud?
I just would like to say this, as somebody, Jim and I have worked out of the Gagnon building since December 3rd. And if you see the people that come in that building that are still looking for homes to be able to live in, there's a need for this. Whether we like it or not, there's a lot of people that lost their homes and are not being able to get them replaced. Chief Wheeler knows that firsthand. He's talked to the families firsthand on this, and there's a need for more housing. I drove through there the other day, Jim and I did, and I'll tell you what, them homes have been there 6 years, and they're in a whole lot better shape than the houses down around the corner from me and some of the neighborhoods. At least most of them have been very well kept. If you go in Arlington, there's mold on the siding, but there's mold on siding throughout town. But at least they try to keep them up. I mean, you go to some of these houses around town and there's nobody watching over how they're being kept. At least HUD does do that.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Olive?
Just to elaborate on what Larry was just talking about, there was a lady just last Saturday who came in and she is just now, in a week or so, I forget what the time frame is, just now getting into a low housing unit that she found. She said that the house that they presently have been living in has mold growing in it just from the water damage and everything from the tornado. So, yeah, I would have to agree that there is a need for this low-income housing. So I would be in favor of it too, if it ever comes up for a vote, which it will.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak about anything else? I'd like to just speak at the IML conference, September 19th through 21st. Let Lisa know if you would like to go. For the new alderman, it's a very wonderful trip to Chicago. Each alderman is responsible for half of their hotel bill. If you decide to go, Lisa can give you all the different things, but I recommend if you get a chance to go. The Cubs and Cardinals are playing that weekend up in Chicago also. So. Not that I would go, but I will be at the IML conference. And as I was directed for from the personnel meeting the other night about putting the street and sewer superintendent out for advertisement, we put an ad in the paper, and the breeze coming up. We put an ad in the Decatur Herald for 3 days for the cost of $424. And we got a quote from the Journal, and I want direction on this. For 5 days in the Journal, The cost is $1,700. For 3 days, it's $1,090. So the money we're spending on advertising this job, we could probably put towards the salary of the superintendent. So I want direction on that. I did put it in the Breeze Courier. I don't even ask the rates.
Yeah, just for FYI.
I don't ask the rates when I call the Breeze, but I did ask the other people. And
Is there a reason we can't do a majority of this online?
Yeah, so
Like-
.com or something for this?
Well, like LinkedIn?
Yeah.
It's on there, it is on Indeed, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, and Google Jobs.
Oh, then you don't need the journal.
That's through the Decatur Herald.
Yeah, then I don't think you need to sprinkle one.
Okay.
That's a
Yeah,
lot, that's a
I'd
lot.
say-
That's what, I balked at that, so.
Yeah.
Might as well take that money, give it to whoever.
Right. And we asked for the applications to be in by August 14th, so hopefully at our next meeting on the 19th, we can approve, street and sewer, superintendent. Other than that, that's all I have. If anything, I do have the proposed stone for the bent flagpole, so I didn't make copies of that. That came late this afternoon, so everybody's willing to look at that. If you have other ideas, we'll decide probably at the council meeting on the 19th, once we get the recommendation from the cemetery board on if they would like to proceed on that.
I had some suggestion about that. I don't know if you had planned on putting in the paper the qualifications required. You have a CDL license,
Right.
and you have to have an applicator license.
Plus any other license that's required or something. So, you'll see it tomorrow night's paper, right, Owen?
That's right.
So, and I'll talk to my good friend Leroy, see maybe we can get a half hour on the radio this week and I can ask about that, correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman George,
Second.
second by Alderman Stone, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? August 5th meeting is adjourned.